Far beneath the surface, yeah, there are secrets the sea refuses to reveal. Fishermen speak of an encounter, one they wish they could forget. They called it the Enkiding Incident. The night was thick with fog, the kind that clings to your skin and muffles every sound. The fishermen moved quietly, their boots thudding softly on the damp wooden deck as they prepared their nets. Out here, miles from shore, the world felt impossibly vast and empty. The only company, the kumpalu, gentle slap of water against the hull and the distant call of a night bird. As their nets sank deep into the inky blackness, a sense of unease crept over the crew. They had fished these waters for generations, but tonight something felt different. An unspoken tension hung in the air, as if the ocean itself was holding its breath. Suddenly, from the depths below, a disturbance rippled through the water. The nets, heavy with the promise of a good catch, jerked violently, as if snagged on something far larger than any fish. The men exchanged nervous glances, their breath visible in the cold night air. Then, without warning, something enormous began to rise from the darkness beneath them. The water churned and frothed, sending shivers up their spines. It was as if the sea itself was coming alive, revealing secrets that had lain hidden for centuries. A creature of impossible size emerged, its silhouette vast and menacing beneath the surface. The fishermen could only stare in disbelief as the water bulged and heaved, the outline of the beast shifting and undulating with every movement. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. No whale, no shark, nothing from their stories or nightmares could compare. The sheer scale of it defied reason, stretching the limits of their imagination. The boat, sturdy and familiar, suddenly felt like a fragile toy adrift in a sea of monsters. Then from the depths a pair of eyes appeared, enormous, unblinking, and glowing with an unnatural light. They shone like lanterns in the darkness, cutting through the murky water and locking onto the men above. The crew froze, transfixed by the gaze of the creature. It was as if the beast was studying them, weighing their presence, deciding their fate. The air grew colder, the silence broken only by the creak of the boat and the pounding of their hearts. In that moment, the fishermen felt truly small, mere intruders in a world they could never hope to understand. With a sudden violent strike, the creature lashed. The boat lurched wildly, nearly capsizing as waves crashed over the sides, and the sabarmen scrambled for balance, clutching at ropes and rails as the vessel pitched and rolled. The storm that had been brewing on the horizon now seemed to close in. The wind howling and the rain lashing down in sheets. Lightning flashed, illuminating the monstrous form beneath the water for a split second. A glimpse of scales, a flash of teeth, a tail as wide as the boat itself. Panic set in as the realization dawned. They were at the mercy of something far beyond their control. The fishermen screamed, their voices barely audible above the roar of the storm and the crashing waves. Fear and adrenaline surged through them as they fought to keep the boat afloat, their shouts lost to the chaos of the night. Some prayed, others cursed, but all were united in terror as the creature circled below, its glowing eyes never leaving them. The ocean, once a source of livelihood and comfort, had become a place of nightmares, a reminder that there are still mysteries in the deep, and that sometimes those mysteries rise to the surface. As the storm raged on, the men clung to hope, desperate to survive a night they would never forget. They wrote of this encounter, or their hands trembling as they pressed ink to paper, desperate to capture every detail before memory faded. The logbook, now weathered and stained by salt and time, became a vessel for their fear and awe. Each word was a plea to be believed, a testament to the extraordinary events that had unfolded on that fateful night. The crew described the impossible, the way the sea seemed to pulse with a life of its own, the monstrous silhouette that rose from the depths, and the chilling silence that followed its disappearance. Their accounts were vivid, filled with frantic sketches and hurried notes, as if the act of writing could somehow make sense of the chaos they had witnessed. Some wrote of the creature's eyes, vast, unblinking, reflecting the lantern light with an intelligence that was almost human. Others described the sound, a low resonant hum that vibrated through the hull and into their bones, a sound that would haunt their dreams for years to come. The journal became a confessional, a place to pour out their terror and confusion, to try and reconcile what they had seen with what they knew of the world. Yet, even as they wrote, doubt crept in. Had they truly seen what they thought they had? Or had the darkness and the endless waves played tricks on their minds? But many refused to believe them. When the ship finally limped back to port, battered and silent, the crew's story spread quickly through the harbor. Fishermen, merchants, and townsfolk gathered to hear the tale, their faces a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Some scoffed openly, dismissing the crew as victims of rum and superstition. Others whispered behind cupped hands, their eyes darting nervously to the horizon. The captain, once respected, now found himself the subject of ridicule. "Sea monsters," they laughed, "tall tales for children and fools." The crew's insistence only fueled the disbelief. The more passionately they spoke, the more the crowd withdrew, unwilling to accept a reality that threatened the safety of their familiar world. Rumors spread. Some said the crew had gone mad. Others, that they were covering up a mutiny or a failed voyage. The truth, whatever it was, became lost in a tide of doubt and denial. Was it a giant squid? A monster of legend? Theories abounded, each more fantastic than the last. Some pointed to the elusive giant squid, a creature rarely seen but often blamed for unexplained disappearances at sea. Old sailors recounted stories of tentacles as thick as tree trunks, eyes the size of dinner plates, and battles that ended with ships dragged beneath the waves. Others spoke of the kraken, a beast from myth, said to dwell in the deepest trenches and rise only when provoked. The line between fact and folklore blurred, and the crew's story became just another chapter in the long history of maritime mysteries. Yet, for those who had been there, the memory was all too real. They remembered the scale of the creature, the way it moved with purpose and intelligence, and the sense that they had glimpsed something ancient and powerful, something that did not belong in their world, or something not of this earth. As the days passed, speculation grew wilder. Some suggested the creature was not of this world at all, a visitor from the stars, or a remnant of a forgotten age. Strange lights had been seen in the sky that night, and a few whispered of government cover-ups and secret experiments gone awry. The idea that the ocean might hide not just monsters, but mysteries beyond human comprehension took root in the minds of the curious and the fearful alike. The crew, for their part, could offer no explanation. They only knew what they had seen, and the memory of it would not let them rest. Night after night, they dreamed of the creature's glowing eyes, of the way the water seemed to shimmer and pulse with an otherworldly energy. The line between nightmare and reality blurred, and some began to wonder if they had been changed by the encounter, marked somehow by the gaze of something that should not exist. The ocean seemed alive, twisting around their ship. In the days that followed, the crew could not shake the feeling that they were being watched. The sea, once a familiar companion, now felt alien and unpredictable. Waves moved in unnatural patterns, currents shifted without warning, and the wind carried strange, mournful sounds across the deck. At night, the water glowed with a faint phosphorescent light, casting eerie shadows on the sails and rigging. Some claimed to see shapes moving beneath the surface, vast, indistinct forms that vanished when approached. The ship itself seemed to groan and shudder, as if protesting the presence of something unseen. The crew grew restless, plagued by nightmares and a sense of impending doom. Even the bravest among them began to question their sanity, wondering if the ocean had always been this strange, or if they had simply never noticed its secrets before. And then, just as quickly as it came, the creature vanished. One moment, the sea was alive with movement and sound. The next, it was as still and silent as a grave. The crew searched the horizon, desperate for any sign of the beast, but found only empty water stretching to the edge of the world. The sense of loss was profound, as if something vital had been taken from them. Some wept openly, overcome by relief and sorrow in equal measure. Others stood in stunned silence, unable to process the enormity of what had happened. The ocean, once again calm and indifferent, offered no answers. It was as if the encounter had been a dream, a fleeting glimpse into a hidden world that would never reveal itself again. Yet, the memory lingered, a constant reminder that the sea was far more mysterious and dangerous than they had ever imagined. Experts dismissed their claims, calling it myth, or fear, or hallucination. In the weeks that followed, the crew's story was picked apart by scientists and skeptics alike. Marine biologists pointed to known species, offering rational explanations for the strange lights and sounds. Psychologists suggested mass hysteria, the result of stress and isolation at sea. Historians compared the account to centuries-old legends, arguing that the human mind is prone to seeing monsters where none exist. The crew was subjected to endless questions and examinations, their credibility challenged at every turn. Some began to doubt their own memories, wondering if they had been swept up in a collective delusion. Yet, a few spirits remained intrigued, quietly collecting data and searching for patterns in the chaos. They knew that the ocean still held secrets, and that sometimes the most unbelievable stories are the ones that demand the closest scrutiny. But the sea hides more than science dares to admit. Beneath the waves lies a world as alien as any found in the stars, a realm of darkness and pressure, of creatures that defy imagination. For every mystery explained, a dozen more remain unsolved. The ocean is a place of wonder and terror, a reminder that humanity's knowledge is but a thin veneer over a vast, unknowable abyss. The crew's encounter, whether real or imagined, serves as a warning. There are things in the deep that we are not meant to understand, and as long as the sea endures, it will continue to guard its secret, waiting for the next unwary traveler to stumble upon the unknown. For centuries, sailors from every corner of the world have carved the same haunting images into wood, stone, and parchment. These were not just idle doodles or the idle fancies of bored men at sea. They were warnings passed down from generation to generation, etched with trembling hands by those who claim to have seen the impossible. The drawings depict monstrous forms, tentacled leviathans, serpentine beasts, and creatures with gaping jaws large enough to swallow a ship whole. These images, found in the logbooks of explorers and the journals of fishermen, tell a story that transcends language and culture. The ocean is home to things we cannot understand and perhaps should never try to. Imagine the terror of seeing massive beasts rising from the waves, their forms dwarfing even the largest ships of their time. Some described eyes that glowed in the moonlight, or scales that shimmered like polished metal. Others spoke of the thunderous sound of a tail slapping the water, or the sudden chilling silence that would fall over the crew as something enormous passed beneath the hull. These encounters were so vivid, so utterly terrifying, that they became the stuff of legend, stories whispered in the dark, warnings to those who dared to cross the open sea. Those who survived such encounters often returned home changed forever, their eyes once bright with the promise of adventure, now reflected only fear and regret. Some refused to speak of what they had seen, while others could not stop reliving the nightmare, their voices trembling as they recounted the horrors lurking beneath the waves. Many swore they would never set sail again, haunted by memories of monstrous shapes and the certainty that the ocean was watching, waiting for its next victim. Yet the question remains, echoing across the centuries: what did they truly see out there, beyond the edge of the known world? Were these creatures figments of frightened imaginations? Or did something ancient and powerful really dwell in the depths? The ocean keeps its secrets well, and even today, as we peer in Tiana into Tola Endila had its shadowy blue, we cannot help but wonder what legends and warnings still wait to be discovered. The ocean remembers even when we try to forget. A mystery unsolved and perhaps best left untouched. This is Beyond Poksha, where the unknown becomes reality. Subscribe if you dare.